What is up, YouTube, my Cowboys family, bringing you guys the latest updates on the Ezekiel Elliott case. So give us just a second, guys, while we go ahead and get ready.
Just going to check our audio. Looks like the video is good. What's up, Temp Gaming? What's up? As you know, there's a lot of new stuff that has come around the corner in the last, 12 hours or so?
Yeah.
Maybe even from yesterday.
And again, we've all been waiting a long time. What's up, Tampa Bay, Elite, Wolf Rider, LM. All right, so.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. And guys, make sure to hit like on the stream. It really does help out our channel. Let me see. Stream tomorrow evening, guys. We stream every day.
Yeah, but he's referring to the fantasy, to the franchise draft thing that we're gonna do tomorrow. Yes, the plan is still to do it tomorrow. I haven't been able to check on that yet, but we're gonna focus on that probably either later on in the stream or on a separate stream when it comes to the Madden stuff. But
and
this
King
is about
Cash, what's up? Thanks for joining us.
Today it's about Cowboy news, and really it's because Cowboys. I thought we were gonna be at practice today. I didn't get any reports. I didn't get any reports of them being in practice today. The Dallas Cowboys team. I thought they had 4 days off, and that would mean, I guess, what, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So that means Tuesday they would have practice. I didn't hear anything about a practice today. So no real word or updates on any of the injuries in the Cowboys, including Sean Lee, Tyron Smith, Chaz Green, Awuzie. Everybody's still kind of like same status as before. Again, most of them had played and were good to go. But I will say that that side of things, no real big news. A little bit of news we're going to talk about later about Jerry Jones and the protest with the anthem. They were in a big meeting with the players. It was a good meeting with the players, and it did. They both sides came out of that actually kind of encouraged and happy about what seemed to be maybe a coming together of some kind of agreement soon. But as of right now, it still stands as it used to be, which actually means that players do not have to stand for the anthem, and that they're not breaking any rules, and they cannot be suspended or benched for that reason. And that still stays right now, as of right now, but they are working on something that's going to rectify this entire situation. So hopefully it's a good thing for the NFL and the players.
So, and Donald Jenkins, I agree 100%. I'm very glad the bye week is over.
Yes,
but I'd also like to get a little more info on a few of those things you just mentioned, especially our injuries. But we definitely have.
Yeah, our injuries, there's nothing else. That's what I'm saying. There's really no more from the Cowboys camp as far as that's concerned, except the big Ezekiel Elliott news, which again, today, guys, if it went against Zeke, it would have been over right now, basically. Yeah, he would have been suspended for basically 6 games, and he could have still fought it, but it would have still been a really upward fight, a hard battle.
Yeah, at that point, it wouldn't have been very likely that they would have granted it to him.
And again, that would have been an uphill battle. But what happened today, baby? Why don't you let us know? Because you broke the news.
Guys.
And did a great job doing it, by the way. So
yes, and then I'll just answer King Cash question right before. So we did see that injury, unfortunately. You know, we saw it on our phones. They replayed it, so.
Hayward, man.
Unfortunate
that's crazy.
for him.
He just got traded to the Boston Celtics 6 minutes into the game, and he breaks his ankle.
The first game of
his new team, and he's a good player. He's an all-star, and so anyway, that's basketball news, guys. And
so now just wanted to go ahead and
it was horrible to see.
Zero God, what's up? Yeah, exactly. So again, kind of like the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, like we said earlier. You never, even Odell, all those things. You never want to see, these players getting injured, any player getting injured. Wish him a speedy recovery. Back to the Cowboys news, guys. Thanks for all of you guys watching. Let's go ahead and jump right into it.
I'm gonna run through some names here. LM, Tampa Bay Gaming, Jax Gaming, King Cash. I think you already said these people. I know I said Tampa Gaming. Right? Donnell Jenkins, what's up? Zero God Loading, Lead, Aubrey. Again, guys, thank you all. Make sure you guys hit like, and if you're new, hit subscribe. We're building up to number 700.
Yes, guys, we're very close. So if you do know any NFL fans, Cowboy fans, or just anyone who enjoys this kind of news, guys, make sure to go ahead and share it with your friends, let them know, and always hit like and subscribe, guys, if you haven't already.
Now, this woman right here, my fiance, put a lot of effort into really like investigating this. She's again,
I'm not a legal expert. I'm not a lawyer or anything.
But she has worked in that area before.
Yeah,
not as that though. But again, in that area, and so she has some kind of background. And again, it's easier for her to understand this stuff than it is for me.
Yeah. So and like I said, guys, this stuff is
really interesting.
It's hard to understand because, again, not just the nature of legal stuff, but this case, it's really nothing quite like it before. So it's kind of every decision is just kind of up to each judge, and we're going to touch on what a lot of these judges have already said. So
let's kick it up, baby. So what happened today? Well, it happened actually yesterday. I think it started with the whole I guess this morning with Judge Mazant in Texas and that whole injunction situation.
Yes. So Judge Mazant. Give me just a second, guys. I do have a lot of notes here. So, so Judge Mazant in the Eastern District of Texas officially dismissed the case. Mazant dismissed it because not only was the Texas case vacated, but the NFLPA obviously filed the case in New York.
It was vacated by the 5th District Court of Appeals in New Orleans.
And their ruling. Right. So
we knew that happened
those things combined, obviously.
That's what put his suspension back in play.
Exactly.
So that whole thing had to be scrapped. And that's why Judge Mazant had no other option because of that. And the other reason was because, what was it you said that because
the NFLPA, Zeke's legal team, they had already filed the temporary or the emergency temporary restraining order hearing
injunction.
An injunction and the preliminary injunction in the Southern District of New York. So those two things combined, guys.
So once it was filed, it made it basically, and it was vacated already.
It was just part of the process because by, exactly, by the order being vacated, it means that that's the next step was that, but that they still had the option of trying to get it reheard in Texas. But basically this just kind of says that Judge Mazant is not going to stop the vacancy of the order. He's agreeing with it.
Once he refiled, I think that he would, anything that if he was to fight that, then it would still be a loss and it wouldn't delay anything.
Exactly.
Also, I think that I'm assuming, based on what you're saying, that also the fact that Mazant, the Texas judge who ruled in favor of Ezekiel and put in the injunction, once they refiled in the other location, it was basically dead. The injunction died right there. So Mazant, just like you said, I think going through the motions, having to finish the paperwork basically, and officially make it official that the injunction in Texas is over, guys. It's like it never happened. It's dead.
Yeah.
Right now, but it did happen, and there's some important factors that's leading to this exact situation now and beyond, and for the future of Ezekiel Elliott, and of course in ties with the Dallas Cowboys and all of us. So that's why it's important stuff that did happen in all these court proceedings.
Exactly. So
what happened after that?
Now the filing in Southern District of New York Court. So Judge Paul Crotty is the judge that is presiding over the case now, because the actual judge that is supposed to be presiding over the case, Judge Faya, Judge Faya is actually on vacation this week. He returns next week. So temporarily, Judge Paul Crotty grants the NFLPA the temporary restraining order to block the suspension against Ezekiel Elliott.
Not the injunction.
Exactly. So that means that Zeke is eligible to play until October 30th. But let me stop and tell you that exactly.
Right, it goes for 14 days.
Exactly.
Right?
The thing is that Judge Faya returns.
October 30th. If nothing happens on October 30th and nothing else changes from there, what happens?
Suspension goes right back into place, guys. Right. But the point is that Judge Faya comes back next Monday, and he will be making a decision sometime next week, or at least it's expected that he will make a decision before October 30th. So either way, it means that
he plays this week against the Niners 100%.
Exactly.
But the Redskins, there's a chance he plays, but probably it won't go till Monday.
Unlikely, depending on how Judge Faya rules.
Monday would be the last day that the judge could rule on that. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Monday after the Redskin game. Let me clarify that, guys. So keep that in mind. That's next week's game, not this week's game against the
Now, the very interesting thing about this hearing is some of the new arguments that Zeke's team actually presented. So the NFLPA added some new language to their argument, which basically says that a fair and consistent punishment based on credible evidence. That they're arguing that that they did not have that. What's specifically because there's an absence of that with Tiffany Thompson and Goodell's lack of testimony. So they're linking, they're putting on the butt. Exactly. So they're putting those two things together. The fact of the trying to attack the credibility of the evidence and the fairness of the hearing, and tying that to the lack of, cross-examination of the key witness in the case, Tiffany Thompson, and the commissioner, the one overseeing the appeal at this point, Roger Goodell, and why he reached the decision, and Kia Roberts, Miss Kia Roberts as well, and, all these things, guys. And remember, Miss Kia Roberts and that thing, no one's sure exactly what Goodell knows, because he never, we don't know what he testified. So... All right, guys.
I mean, she supposedly never gave it to, to Goodell in person. I mean, that's a fact. She never presented the case to Goodell. So all that we know, it went through Brenda Frey.
Zero God loading. That's funny.
And you never really know. We really don't know what got to Goodell about what Kaya Roberts.
Yeah, and actually, I want to address real quick. Sorry, baby. Cowboys Abroad statement. Doing a lot of can kicking. Is there legal recourses that can find Zeke innocent of the findings instead of the procedural crap? Yes, there are, but again, he needs to get through these steps first. So I really don't want to discuss that just because I'm not really 100% sure what all those steps are. And it really depends on this first.
Right,
so.
and again, I'm gonna definitely, because I've been on some other streams, kind of disagreeing with like Mark Holmes and some other people. Even Cowboys Abroad and I disagree on this, and that he should just serve the suspension. I disagree. I think Zeke needs to fight this to the end as a human, as a person. Okay, he needs to fight it in the end, because if you, and that means man, woman, or child, are guilty of something, whether it's against the law or not, and it will tarnish your name. You need to do everything in your legal power, in my opinion, to clear yourself. Even more so in a situation like this, when you have somebody who has a name, a brand, and selling jerseys, selling product. You know what I'm saying? This kind of stuff, endorsements, is a huge thing for his life. This is not just take the suspension and let's just make it better for the Cowboys. Look, for us, obviously, yes, I agree with everybody
we care about the Cowboys a lot, if you haven't noticed.
I agree 100% that he should. You know, I would love to him just get it over with. I'm in the same kind of boat.
If he's going to lose, just get it over with. But
in reality, we know that as a human, he has to do what Zeke has to do. Not for the Cowboys or the fans. He's got to do it for Zeke. And I don't blame him in this situation. This is something that he does need to fight to the end, because it is appalling that he can be labeled this, even if it's not in the court of law, but by the NFL and painted this way. If he wins this in some way, and he probably won't, it's going to be very difficult. We'll go through the possibilities of that. There are some good things that came from these hearings, and these proceedings that are now going to be relevant to what's going to come in the future. And you're going to go through that, but I just wanted to clarify my point is that I agree that Zeke, I wish he'd get him over with, but I support his decision to fight this to the end, and I agree with him fighting it to the end to save his name, especially the fact that all the evidence points to him not being guilty. Yet, after this has been said, and even doesn't really matter, already people are labeling him a woman beater now. Okay,
let's get to the fact of the case. First of all, Sarah Green says what happened to innocent or proven guilty. He was proven innocent, guys. The police, I think it was two police departments, and the prosecution. They all said that they dropped all the charges. There wasn't enough evidence, guys, of any of this stuff, because Tiffany Thompson is not a credible witness, and there are other witnesses proving everything she's saying as lies.
That's why NFLPA did this. Exactly. And claimed it and won based on this. This was the main thing that was talked about when the Judge Karate, I think, wrote back his response. That was one of the main things, which is going to help Zeke as we go forward from here. So go ahead and what's the next?
So guys, it's not even about, again, who was it? Steve, Zeke had to do something wrong, or the judges want to go against him. No, I mean this woman. Look, I'm going to be real with you guys. This woman, and guys, everything we're saying is facts. If you want to check out a little bit more of this stuff, we've posted some of these things on Twitter. These are official, court and police statements, court documents and police statements, guys. So it's not just us making it up. These are
PI witnesses that have sworn testimony that saw this woman without any issues.
She said, I'm white and you're a black, so I can get away with it. Again, I'm paraphrasing now. She said something, along the terms of that, where other people heard him, guys.
And swore testimony. Also swore testimony that she was completely unbruised during those days that she was
exactly that bruised. She was out with him, behaving perfectly normal.
That doesn't make a difference.
Not just that, but I'm saying that she was out in public, behaving normally in this time that she said she was confined to this house for 6 days, and without any evidence of the abuse.
4 days of the 6 that he was in town, that she was confined, that she claims, which was not proven at all, because people have seen them. They've seen them out and about, like you said. They saw her out and about during that time, and she was in a bikini for hours in front of other people that sworn there was not even a bruise on her during that time when she was supposed to be getting beat up. The only time there was bruises was after her fight, after Zeke's birthday party, or during or before.
Okay, Cruzan, the DA said he abused her, but guess what? The DA and Tiffany Thompson were the only two people, because he's saying that they didn't have enough evidence to move forward, but the DA said he abused her. The only two people, I'm not joking.
What are they gonna say?
Exactly. The only two people saying that were the DA and Tiffany Thompson. And again, guys, there is police evidence at the scene, guys. The police didn't just make up these key eyewitnesses.
Let me put it this way.
Is Tiffany Thompson the only person who saw this?
Let me put it this way. I guarantee you guys 1,000% if there was such a thing, but let's just say 100%. That's realistic.
I guarantee you guys. Frankie G said it. If the DA said that, he'd be locked up, Cruzan.
Exactly. And my point is that I guarantee you guys 100%. If this went through the court system, like the Jordan Lewis issue, where he went through the court system and he won. Zeke would have easily won this in the courts. It would have been a waste of taxpayer money. And
it didn't even get that far. It didn't even get that far, guys.
That's why it didn't get that
so
far,
all these, and again, it wasn't like she said, "Oh, he hit me once." He supposedly beat the crap out of her, and there was no evidence. Like, there wasn't even enough evidence to even bring it in front of like a jury or a judge or anybody. That's it. So, other than that, guys, let's move back to the facts of this case.
I just want to say one last thing. It wasn't just Ohio, because that was Ohio Police Department, but it was also Miami the Police Department.
Exactly. They brought in a separate, they brought in a separate department to make,
there's no ties to Ohio State University and that kind of favoritism as well. So there's a lot of things going into this. There's no way he's going to be able to bribe, as a college player, bribe all these police departments and the prosecution to drop this case. And again, what else is the DA going to say? They're going to say, of course, we think that she was abused. But they're going to say that because that's their client in a way. They're representing her. So, again, this is the charges that they were bringing initially against Ezekiel Elliott based on what she's claimed, even though there's been eyewitnesses that she got into a fight the last night when she reported the abuse the next day when she got a bunch of bruises because she was beaten up basically by another woman. And she actually assaulted in a club or outside of
And King Cash, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
We got all this stuff out there, guys. You can check it out on Twitter or a previous video. So enough of that.
Yeah, so guys, look, the point is
that's different than what's going on now.
Yeah, so basically, guys, the whole point is that all of this has led to this moment where let's back to the facts. The credibility of Tiffany Thompson is at question here. And one of the key investigators in the appeal for Ezekiel Elliott, after the NFL came down after a year saying all of a sudden he's suspended for 6 games, we don't know how much Goodell knew. And Ezekiel Elliott's legal team wasn't able to cross-examine Tiffany Thompson, wasn't able to access investigative notes, and wasn't able to cross-examine Goodell himself either, which, again...
Does that mean it's unfair?
Exactly. Does that mean it's unfair? And again, with the findings, remember, they found out about this in the second day of the proceedings. I don't know if you remember...
Yes. Of his appeal,
I don't know if of his appeal. That's right. So any of you any of you fans who have been with us for a little while, you guys were there when we broke that news, and we were like... just shocked, beyond shocked, because we couldn't believe that the NFL went so far to do this. And at that point, Zeke's legal team, remember, he missed 2 more days of practice because of this. He was supposed to be back that Tuesday. And everything kind of scrambled from there because this changed everything.
I want to make sure everybody understands out there that I cannot side with anybody. I cannot agree, and that's what, again, as Mark Holmes said, that's what this country is about. But I cannot side with anybody, including Mark Holmes, that believes that Zeke should drop this in betterment of the Cowboys team.
Yeah, there's
no way you can do that. Even if you lose, you fight it to the end, and you fought the good fight, and you always will have that. And again, especially if you're innocent. Imagine if that was you guys. What would you do?
And again, flip it around exactly where your employer was saying, hey, why don't you, take, you're going to be labeled as a domestic violence, as an abuser, and you might get punished. You'll be suspended without pay for 3 months. I don't know, and then you'll be able to come back for your job. Exactly. But it's okay because you'll be able to keep your job, and it'll help our company. It'll help the company beat, get that extra bonus or win the award. The point is the Super Bowl. Again, as much as we love the Cowboys, and as much as Zeke is a part of this team and everyone wants the Cowboys to succeed, and no one wants that more than Zeke, guys. That's the thing. Zeke doesn't want to be on a team that doesn't get to the Super Bowl because that's every single one of their goals. Every single one of them in there wants to get to the Super Bowl, wants to be the best.
And again, so that means, again, like South have been saying, again, the Niners, it's not going to be McFadden now. It's not going to be Morris now. And I agree. I kind of was looking forward to that, too, because I had him alone on fantasy leagues.
King Starvin. And I just want to take a quick second to scroll through a few of you guys here.
Yeah, we're going to get some of your questions now because we still have more to talk about this, guys. A lot more to talk about this. And we appreciate all you guys. Make sure you guys hit like for this stream, guys. It pumps it up in the searches and all that stuff. Make sure you guys hit subscribe if you're new. Hit the notification bell to get our updates and our game day reaction updates. Guys.
Sarah Green, thank you so much for joining us here.
What's up, everyone?
Let me see. Sarah. Ruben Benitez, what's up?
Cruising.
Rotomus, Cruising 26, Eagle Fan 767, Frankie
G.
Vids,
what's up?
Let me see. Did I miss anyone?
What's up, everyone? Cowboys family, Cowboys Nation United.
South of Heaven 88, what's up? How are you? King Star Vids. So yeah, guys. thank you so much for every single one of you guys who's out here joining the stream. Wolf Rider, what's up? Make sure to hit like if you haven't hit it already on the stream. It really does help us out. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, guys, and make sure to hit the notification bell. We're going to be keeping you guys updated on the latest breaking news on everything Ezekiel Elliott, and of course anything major Cowboys. We post daily streams and we do game day live stream reactions.
Yes, ma'am.
So
all right, baby.
All right, so back to it, guys. So basically, let's get back to this. So Judge Crotty, right?
Yeah, Paul.
Yeah,
Crotty.
Paul Crotty. So there you go. So Judge Crotty basically granted the temporary restraining orders. So now let's move forward. So
so we got 14. Let me just do this as the layman here.
Yes.
So we got 14 days. This stands. If nothing happens till that time, the temporary restraining order, it's temporary, guys, 2 weeks, 14 days.
That's it. It's done.
And it's taken away.
Expires.
And then Zeke is now suspended again. That would mean they would miss the game after the Redskins, which would be the Kansas City Chiefs at home against the Chiefs.
Exactly.
So again, that's one scenario. It's probably the least likeliest scenario.
Exactly.
The most likeliest is that this new judge, the judge that's supposed to be doing this case, is Fias. He is coming back from vacation. This Judge Crotty is putting a temporary restraining order just because he sees enough in the credible evidence situation with Goodell, with Tiffany Thompson not being able to have testimony on them. And so there's an issue there. That's enough to put this temporary restraining order, which then now makes Zeke able to play again. Now, not suspended. The suspension is basically on hold for 14 days at the most. And then the NFL, I mean, not the NFL, but then this other judge is going to look at this, the original judge, back from vacation next week. We're going to assume not Monday. Let's say it's not Monday the 30th.
Yeah.
Let's say it's sometime next week, the 23rd, and between the 23rd and 27th, whatever that week, the week is there of October. And so he's looking at it. And now what happens? So what can happen from that?
So exactly. So let's say he says yes. He agrees with Zeke. Okay. He's siding with Zeke. So what happens then?
Would it be similar to Mazant, like saying yes?
Yes, exactly.
So that means the injunction becomes approved.
Preliminary. It becomes a preliminary injunction. It's not a temporary restraining order. It's a preliminary injunction. That means that he can continue to play until the case continues to be decided upon and until it's finally ruled on. Which, as we all know, guys, it takes a while. Now, of course, the NFL can appeal that decision one more time. So after that, though,
exactly. I was gonna say it's like a repeat, guys, of the Texas situation.
Exactly.
When it went from Texas and Judge Mazant, which is basically this judge, what's his name, Crotty / Fias, who's going to now rule on this upcoming next week.
Exactly.
And so after he rules on it, he's a big time pro NFL guy. Not really. He never sides with the players. We shall see. Again, and that worries me as a fan, saying, okay, well, that means that now this anti-player and a pro NFL type judge, Crotty has ruled in favor of players in the past.
Yeah.
Still with the NFL, but a lot more with the players. This other guy who's coming back to do the ruling next week has never ruled with the players, ever, always with the NFL. That's what scares me. But there are some things that I think you're going to talk about in a minute that's going to help what built up to this thing with all the other previous cases.
Exactly. And Cowboys abroad, I'm sorry, but is it fair to the Cowboys? Forget the Cowboys. Is it fair to Ezekiel Elliott? Is it fair for Ezekiel Elliott to continue, to take a punishment for something he didn't do? To be, to plead, be forced to take a punishment and plead guilty to something he didn't do and was not found guilty of.
I 100% agree with you, baby. And that's the thing is that in Cowboys abroad, I understand. I agree with you too in the sense of understanding that viewpoint. I feel that way as a Cowboy fan, but as a human being, and I guess in this case for me as a man, if I was in this situation, I would fight this to every possible extreme and more so if I was Ezekiel Elliott, because now you have your name, your jersey, your brand, advertisements, all this is going to be killed and shot. And again, it comes down to some fans. They might not buy it because you don't want their daughter or their son wearing that jersey, or they don't want to wear that jersey and say, labeled a woman beater now when they go into opposing team stadiums. It's really a hassle for us fans in the long run. But again, guys, for Zeke, it's going to be affecting him the rest of his career if he does not at least fight this to his legal end. And if he doesn't, he loses. And it might end up costing us next year 6 games. We got to be prepared. I don't know what to say. That does suck. And again, that's the Cowboy fan side of me that says, I just wish he'd get it over with.
Exactly.
And I understand that mindset, but I don't agree with it when you look at logic and reality and the way that things that things would. What would you do, Cowboys Word, if that was you? That's my question. So what would you do? I'm really curious about what would you do in that situation. So
and Wilson, what's up? But we do notice you. Don't worry.
It's okay to disagree, guys.
So and again, this is just how we feel, and but I do want to get back to a little bit more of the facts.
Now that's
the yes. So let's say yes. So now again, back to the thing. So the NFL would appeal the decision. Let's say the appeal, once again, the appeal is denied.
This is if it follows rules in favor of Zeke.
Exactly.
And it finalizes the preliminary injunction like Mazant did in Texas. If that occurs, then NFL would appeal like they did. And
and let's say they lose again.
Right. It goes like the Northeastern District Court of Appeals.
Yeah.
And whatever number it is, and then
I think it's the Second District Court of Appeals.
The Second District Court of Appeals and Northeast. Because it was in New Orleans before. Now
exactly. Exactly. So and then
different
I think they can appeal it one more time to the Supreme Court. But again, like we said, once it gets to the Supreme Court, it's very unlikely that they'll even hear
either side.
Yeah, that they'll hear the case. So guys. At that point, it's pretty much done.
Right. For either side. In this case, if we're going by this line of thinking, follows the judge rules in favor and gives them the preliminary injunction and the rules against the NFL's appeal, then Zeke is basically there. That's when we know Zeke will be there for the rest of the season. And maybe into next season, even if he loses this in the long run. But let's just talk about that as time goes on. We'll get to that in a minute, guys. And that's the Cowboys abroad, probably a good point he makes about next season. How's that going to affect us if the suspension has to be applied in the end? But we'll talk about that as we get to this. Still another lineage here to talk about. So that's one way of things working out.
Now, and guys, just to make it clear, just because he can play the whole season and the preliminary injunction is granted, that just means that until while the courts are going through the process of investigating this, that he can play. Once the decision is made, much like Brady, let's say they rule against Zeke, that means that he would serve the 6 games. Correct. Let's say they rule in favor of Zeke, that means that it's done. That's it.
They would actually rescind all the 6 games, and he would not have to serve any of them.
Exactly. And we're talking like all the way to the end. I just want to kind of finish that. Now, back to
that would be known in the summertime. Exactly. Like in the offseason. We have a lot to talk about, I guess, even in the offseason.
So definitely make sure to hit the notification bell. But guys, the temporary restraining order.
That's to that point.
Yes.
So that's the other way would be, what if they deny it and say no?
Exactly. So let's say Judge Faya says, no, I'm siding with the NFL. So what happens then? Ezekiel Elliott's team now appeals, and now it goes to the Second District Court of Appeals.
So my question is, would he be suspended?
Yes, he's suspended immediately. So unfortunately, in that part, it sucks, and we don't know how quickly the Second Court of Appeals would hear the case. So let's be optimistic and say about 3 weeks.
So he loses 3 games.
So either way, that means he loses 3 out of 6, 4 out of 6. At that point, he'll have served so much of the suspension. Either way, I do think that Zeke will continue to fight it, especially, let's say, they even rule in favor of him. That means that now, towards the end of this, he could at least still probably go back against the NFL for the irreparable harm of missing those games. But that's just, me speculating something later on in the process. But unfortunately, it does mean Zeke is suspended, and it's very likely he'll have to,
serve some of those games,
while if not all.
For the appeal, and if he loses that, it's over. He has to finish serving the 6 games. And if it doesn't end and they put a stay on it, then we're back to another whole different line of things.
Yeah.
But he will definitely miss some games if it goes that way. If this judge comes back next week, Fayez, and he rules against. And he rules against the preliminary injunction and removes the temporary restraining order, Zeke will be suspended. Against the Redskins, and that's a guarantee. And he'll probably spend a couple games after that.
So I'm going to go ahead and simplify it even more. If Judge Faya, once he returns from vacation next week, rules in favor of Zeke, it is likely that he will play the whole season. Likely. If Judge Faya rules against Zeke and sides with the NFL, it is likely that he will serve all 6 games suspension.
At least 3 or 4.
Likely all 6. I'm going to say likely all 6.
Let's just make it blank.
Because to be honest,
things in between,
so, and we are going to catch back up with your comments in a little bit, guys. I know we've been, really doing this, but I do, I have a lot of notes here, and I just want to make sure I'm saying all of the facts.
Because now, basically, let's go back to, let's say, how does he win this in the end? Like, how can he get his 6 games rescinded? And we know it's going to be, guys, let's preface by saying this is very difficult to do. We understand that he's up against the wall. His back is against the wall.
That is very unlikely, yeah.
And it's very unlikely he's going to be able to win this in the end. But there is a possibility, even better than the Brady situation. And even though the Brady case helped Zeke in some ways, now it's kind of become a little more irrelevant in a lot of ways.
Exactly. So, and at least.
And Zeke's case actually has more I guess more possibility to win.
Yeah, exactly. So here, where was it that I wrote that note down? I know I wrote it down.
Make sure you guys hit like, hit subscribe if you're new. We do this every day. And we got a whole bunch of stuff, guys.
Okay, so here it is. So, guys, basically, and again, this is the one thing I do want to say. I'm not 100% sure why it was so important that Judge Crotty specifically mentioned this. So, you know, I'm just saying, but, you know, the legal experts and the legal people who have been following this case all say that it's a good thing that Judge Crotty clearly stated this and that it's a good thing for his legal team. So basically, Judge Crotty rejects the notion that the Brady ruling, quote, forecloses judicial review of arbitration decisions. So basically, what does that mean? That the judges and the court, just because that the court sided with the NFL in Brady's case, you know, doesn't mean that they're going, there's no relevance to that ruling in the Zeke ruling in that way. Because remember, guys, Zeke and Brady are both making the exact same legal argument in the sense that, like, they're filing the same kind of legal argument. So on paper, you know, similar decisions could affect them, but he's just kind of clarifying, saying that just because they ruled that way doesn't mean that, you know, the facts of the case. And guys, that's the big thing. This is one of the key reasons why it's actually a great thing that Zeke's legal team ended up filing in Texas first, because there is clear legal written language from now 4 judges. 3 of them, we have their names and I have their, you know, we have their statements and we've talked about them. The 4th one, we're not 100% sure which one that was, but at least 3.
Right, guys, 3 judges have ruled. So I know that 3 judges have ruled in his favor when it comes to specifically writing this, like you said, in legal terminology, and putting it basically in the books. So basically, what was it, Mazant in Texas put very strong language supporting Zeke's case. And the unfairness issues in it regarding Tiffany Thompson, Goodell, and just the way the CBA went about, how the NFL could have violated the CBA. Because in the end, guys, that's what this is specifically about. It's not about a suspension for the domestic as much. That's not what it's about. It's about how it was handled and did it break any rules in the CBA.
Was the hearing fair to Zeke?
And right now, all the signs are starting to point more and more. This is from the beginning, but it's just been pointing to it's not been fair to Zeke. And if that's deemed true in the future, this, you know, through the summer it could go. Zeke could win this overall. He could win this. Now, again, it's just that's one judge, Mazant. Okay, he's a Texas judge.
Exactly.
He's a federal judge, but okay, that's one.
Yeah,
then went to the appeals, right?
Yes.
And went to the appeals in New Orleans, and one
Judge Graves.
Right. So one judge did. Okay, so
agreed with Judge Mazant, and now Judge Crotty
in New York
also agreed. So, guys, all 3 judges sided with Zeke on 2 major things. 1, that serving the suspension immediately would cause irreparable harm, and 2, that there's an issue of fundamental fairness here because they were not able to cross-examine the witness, the key witness. That is a major point because Tiffany Thompson. Because, guys, in the Brady case, they argued that, you know, a very similar argument, but it was just a collateral witness.
Which means what, collateral?
Which just means they were kind of a side witness, not like a second party witness, not a major, exactly.
Through a second party.
Exactly. They were not one of the people directly involved. A key witness, guys. I mean, it says it right there.
It's the person that's making the claims in the first place.
So again, the fact that and Goodell and like I said earlier in the stream,
and what was told to him. And that's how that's how the CBA can get violated.
And that's why the NFLPA, like I said earlier in the stream, that's why they added that new language about the fair ruling based on credible evidence.
Credible evidence.
So if there was credible evidence or that she was uncredible and Goodell decided to suspend Zeke anyway on bad evidence,
that would be a violation
problem.
of the CBA. And that's what I think Zeke and the NFLPA and the legal team is trying to push with Crotty. Crotty agreed. So this judge in the Southern District of New York agreed with this specific
wording.
And
Frankie G, you said it right there. Domestic violence is a big deal. 2 charges, you're banished from the NFL. So Ezekiel Elliott, this is his first year second year in the league. So you're talking about the rest of his career. He has to, walk on eggshells. And I understand domestic violence is a serious thing, and no one should be. Yes,
because he's done too much already.
But the point is that
not to this extent.
Exactly. The point is that all it takes is one more Tiffany Thompson or one more woman to accuse him of it, and that's all they have to do: accuse him of it. There doesn't even have to be any real proof, and we've already seen that. Yeah. So, guys.
Well, that's a good information, baby. Is that everything? Because I want to go through some of these questions.
So no, basically, just the last thing is just that
because we do have some other stuff to talk about.
I just kind of want to touch on the games.
News,
okay, so I just kind of want to touch.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted one last thing. Want to touch on the games that Zeke would miss if he is suspended. So let's say he's suspended before the 30th.
So he plays the Niners no matter what. Exactly. This weekend we get the Niners. We
exactly.
Get Zeke
so let's say he serves his 6-week suspension right after the Niners. That means he misses the game at Washington. Home against Kansas City, at Atlanta, home against the Eagles, home against the Chargers, home against the Redskins again. Now, let's say that he rules. Games. Yeah, now let's say they rule on the 30th, or he gets to play that Washington game.
If he plays Washington, so okay.
That means that he will miss all those games we just mentioned besides Washington, but he will also miss the game at the New York Giants. That's a big one.
Rival.
So and there you go, guys.
Again, if he misses 3, and then he gets a couple of play in between there, maybe and then he misses the other 3 towards the end or something like that. Again, guys, it's a hard thing to kind of predict, but you have to give Ezekiel Elliott the benefit of the doubt in the sense of letting him fight this out first and foremost.
So, and we'll go ahead and go back to some of your comments, absolutely. But right now, I'm going to go backwards just because I happen to see Cowboys Abroad's comment about even if he wins, he's being charged in the court of public opinion. So
it's way too late for a lot of fans.
For a lot of people, it's too late. But for a lot of people, it will matter if the courts if the courts find that the NFL, messed up their investigation and tried to hide evidence. And I think that's a lot of people are waiting on this too.
Right. No, and that's it. I don't think, yes, I disagree with you on that. I think I agree with Cowboys Abroad that the Court of Public Opinion has already ruled on him. All this stuff now, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters, the only way it changes is if he wins the whole thing at the end. And if he does, and again, even though we know it's going to be tough, but there's a possibility, a greater possibility he wins this if he gets to that point. If this whole situation, if this Judge Fallis does rule in his favor, if it gets that would be 4 judges supporting him going into this investigation. Basically, the appeal would be lost by the NFL because this time it was not ruled out of district or when they put this appeal when Zeke and his team did this, it was in another state. That was one of the reasons why jurisdiction was one of the reasons, and the other reason was because of filing it before the appeal for Ezekiel Elliott by the NFL. The decision by that was given. So based on those 2 things is why it was just a bad timing and out of jurisdiction kind of issue. And that's the only reason why they actually agreed that he had a good case and it passed that. So basically they filed it incorrectly to keep Zeke in the league, playing without getting suspended this season. And they got it through, and even though it was taken away, now basically they're doing the whole thing over again, but they're doing it the right way. And now, and again, 3 judges have ruled in his favor. There's a piling of evidence on his side and legal evidence, legal rulings, legal writings, legal wording that is all in support of Zeke. It's more of just the way the procedure he did it was incorrect, I guess you'd say.
Exactly. They found, they dismissed the case based on a technical thing that they filed in Texas, not because anything in the case was actually didn't have merit. And like we said, Judge Mazan actually said that the case did have merit, which is why he granted the preliminary injunction and the temporary restraining order and all of these things. So, guys, this all kind of goes back together.
Go ahead and start looking at some of the questions.
Yeah, I do want to go back.
Overall, guys, it's a big deal. It is a huge deal that these things are at the head of this, at the forefront of this case. And I think it's going to only help Zeke. He's got to fight it all the way. I agree with Frankie G.
Yeah, so here, I'm actually going to go back.
Questions, guys. Thank you all, by the way, for being out here cruising. Frankie G, Steve Scoggins, Cowboys Abroad, NYG for Life, Sarah Green, what's up? All of you, thank you for joining us. Hit like, hit subscribe if you're new, and go Cowboys. Go ahead, baby.
All right, guys. So I'm going to just read a lot of comments, and then we'll go ahead and kind of give our thoughts back and forth through them. So Frankie G says, the team is behind Zeke 100%. You don't just take a domestic violence charge when you're innocent. Agreed. It's common sense.
Agreed.
Let me see. Steve, no Zeke after the 49ers game. Zeke hasn't done crap this year. So, as someone, I don't know who it was in the chat. Please let me know who it was that said this earlier. But you said that Zeke, it doesn't make up for the hole on our offensive line and the bad coaching. Yeah, that Zeke not playing as well doesn't make up for the other bad things going on. I know someone in the chat said it. Whoever it was, make sure to shout it out again, because I do want to give you credit for that.
And guys, by the way, just so you know, I do want to throw this in the middle of this, just in the middle of the question. Definitely do the next one.
No, go ahead.
Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie for the Giants. He's now not suspended anymore. So now they seem that one win gets him on good terms, I guess. Who knows what that whole situation was.
Yeah, basically he's back with the Giants practicing, happy as a clam.
Yes, so we think. Again,
so they say.
It's gonna probably, we'll see what happens as time goes on. I still think it'd be a good deal, Darren McFadden for Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, DMC for DRC. I think it helps both teams, and I don't think the Giants would do it, but I would like the Cowboys to do something like that once we kind of get our running back situation in place, even with or without Zeke. But let's see how things go in a couple of weeks, and we'll revisit this topic. Questions? I'm sorry, baby. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. So let me see. Let me see. Does anyone remember that Kobe paid his accuser off? Zeke, stay out of trouble. He can come back from can he come back from this? Cruzan 26. I think he can. I think but it's going to take it's going to take time, much like everything else. But he can definitely do it. You can see the effect
this season already. You
can
see the effect on Zeke.
And I know a few people have been saying he's fat. I mean, I don't think he's getting fat, but
he's always looked a little bit like truckish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I think people are just forgetting.
What's up? How you doing? South of Heaven. What's up?
So let me see. If a legal way out exists, great. In this case, there's not. Cowboys abroad. I think we've already made a few points that obviously at least disagree with you, but
there is a legal out. It's still going to be tough because of everything that is the way that the CBA in Article 46 is so. Isn't it Article 46?
Yes.
That way it's so loosely written. It's so much
exactly.
So open for interpretation.
It has to be specific about evidence.
But when well, that's the thing is that it's not really specific about evidence.
Oh no, the thing is that it says it only talks about evidence. It's saying that it only. So the thing is that the NFLPA has to prove that these statements and these things are evidence, and that that evidence was withheld from them or tampered with. You understand what I'm trying to say? At least that's the argument that they're making, and it sounds like that's a very similar argument that Brady made, and like we said,
except there's actually live people that are actually firsthand people.
Exactly, the key witnesses. So that's credible. I hate that we keep coming back to this thing, but guys, let's go ahead and keep moving on. Let me see. So domestic violence is a big deal. 2 charges, you're banished from the NFL. We talked about that. Yep. And New York Giant, I guess he can't put up song lyrics. Sorry. So, and Cruzan said rape is an even bigger domestic violence charge. My point is he can still be marketable down the road. And Cruzan, yes, but it still stays with you. You can't ever get over the fact that you were accused of rape or accused of domestic violence, something like that.
I think that the fact that he's already pushed this far and won so many times, I think some of the public opinion has already been swayed. I truly think some people who
or at least the fact that they've seen that the NFL just completely bungled this.
Right. So I think even people, listen, I know people firsthand, football fans firsthand, they love to see Zeke in this situation. And when he was suspended, they were like, I told you he's guilty, whatever. Yeah. As time went on and this thing is going bouncing around like this, they're like, yeah. I mean, honestly, they're like, yeah, Zeke's getting screwed or something's wrong.
And exactly, Alid, you agree as well.
And I think Zeke, for his own name, his own brand, whether it ends Monday with this guy ending it for Zeke, he still fights it, but he's going to probably serve a suspension. Cowboys abroad, you get your wish. And again, in a way, some of us get our wish too. I might get my wish in that way. Yeah. But at least he fought it to the end. He needs to fight it to the end. And if he just serves suspension this year, it's better for the Cowboys. But it's better for Zeke that he exhausts all his legal possibilities on this. In this kind of if he was stealing something from a store, you let it go. Exactly. But if it's something like this that stays with you forever, and the NFL is marketing hugely against it, which they should.
Exactly. And the big key thing here, guys, is that he again was. There wasn't enough evidence to even bring to even press charges against him.
In 2 different police departments.
Exactly. So
prosecution.
But anyway, let's go ahead and hop back into it.
How you doing?
So yeah,
the Riveter, what's
Chris
up?
Senior, what's up? Thanks for joining us.
Chris Senior, what's up?
And Brian Bradford, I don't think we shouted you out earlier, but thanks for joining. Oh, you did?
Yeah,
okay,
it's all right. Brian Bradford gets it again.
So
any other questions?
So let me see the
comments. Let's hear them.
Yes. So let's see.
Guys, remember, hit like. And if you're new, hit subscribe.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys.
Frankie G. So let me see. Frankie G says Zeke has played 5 games and has 527 total yards with 3 touchdowns. He isn't the problem. So Brian Bradford says, and the defense needs to play a lot better. So yeah, guys, defense and coaching. But coaching is one of the big. Yes. So our offensive line.
Those three things are the things we have to improve. We know the defense has to improve.
Yeah.
But we know what
and
our
even
defense,
some of our better guys have been making a lot of sloppy mistakes, like Frederick and Smith have been getting kind of a lot of flags.
And yeah, he's been thrown around by the Rams. But here's the thing, guys, though, is that our defense. Here's the thing. The difference, I think, is that we didn't expect our offensive line to be like this, to have this kind of inability to gel at this point. We didn't expect that. We didn't expect the coaching to continue making, I believe, bad coaching decisions since the beginning of the Garrett era. So those two things I kind of expect. I did not expect it, because last year it seemed like Garrett kind of let Dak and Zeke kind of take over and run the ball a lot. And I think that he uses offensive line, and that's what you do. You run the ball and you win the game. You establish the passing game by running the ball, and you win. And you saw what happened last year, guys. This year we're not able to do that. We're not establishing the run. And that's first. People say throw the ball all the time. You do that, we're going to look for. It might look good. We might win some games, but it's not going to win us enough games to get us in the playoffs. It's not going to be a consistent
And Mosh,
team.
I agree. I want Switzer running in there too. I want to see some passing plays.
I agree.
It's actually we talked about this.
There's a lot of things we can throw in
So
there, guys.
but here I want to catch up a few more of your comments. I do want to say one thing though.
Our defense is a known problem. That's the difference, guys. We know that the defense has weaknesses. With the injuries to our main guys, Hitchens and Sean Lee, with the rookies back there have taken over, Carroll cut, Cedric Thornton cut, and Stephen Paya out, retiring. My guys, the Cowboys defense has been battling a lot, and they're still kind of hanging in there for most of the game. It's up to the offense it's the offense, and I'm not saying it's Dak. I'm not saying it's Zeke. I'm not saying it's even the receivers to an extent, although they have dropped passes and they are to blame. But the offensive line has been broken down and has not been gelling together, and that's the main. And that and the coaching are the two things that are kind of really putting it on the defense, and that we can't do. So it's not really the defense's fault, even though they are to blame for blowing some games or playing badly at times. They cannot be relied upon we cannot expect them to be a top defense. It's going to stop a team every time. It's not going to happen. Even an Aaron Rodgers team with a minute and a half, not many teams could do that, even the better defenses. So keep all this in mind, guys. I'm not really mad about our defense. I'm mad about offensive line. I'm worried about the offensive line, not mad. And I'm pissed about the coaching. I'm just upset about the coaching. And they need the offensive coordinator, Lenahan and Jason Garrett need to do something. This bye week better been adjustments.
So, all right, guys, let's go ahead and catch up with some of your comments again. Let me see. They
haven't put anybody in Paya's place yet, by the way. They have not put anybody in Paya's place. I just want to say, Paya is retired. He's on a PUP, like an unofficial out list, like Gregory is, like Randy Gregory. So Paya's on that list. He's still not officially retired, but he is off the active roster. The Cowboys have not moved anybody on that roster yet. We're predicting Lewis Neal will be the guy, but we don't know what they're going to do yet. And they might make some kind of deal, maybe pick up a free agent. We don't really know what the Cowboys are doing yet.
Yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see on that, guys.
Tomorrow we'll definitely talk more about injury updates at the practice, and we'll talk more about any added players on the roster, which are going to be two big deals for tomorrow to look into. This Zeke thing is not going to be a big deal anymore until next week. So, and then Near Jet for Life says, have you noticed the Giants are only one game away from the Cowboys? Yes, I noticed that immediately when it happened. Immediately when the Giants won, I'm like, they have one win and we have two. When I move, my room's going to look a lot like your living room, but Giants. So, hey, we all got to rep our teams, right? So even if some of us are wrong. Even if you got the wrong team. So, and then let me see. So, who was it that just asked that? Cowboys Abroad said, should Mayowa or Neal take Paya's place? Paya is an inside guy. Mayowa doesn't play the inside. So I would say it's going to be Malik Collins and David Irving will be the two inside guys. So how do you see Lewis Neal fitting into it? Lewis Neal is a defensive end, but I do think he'll be a backup with Brian Price. Okay. I think those two guys will be the backups to those to spell David Irving and Malik Collins. And I also think you could put Taco in there at the defensive tackle spot, and also Tyrone Crawford plays that spot as well. You could move him inside. Now the Riveter makes an interesting point about Switzer. Switzer isn't all that good. They limit his playing time because he can't hold the ball all that well. So he is tiny. He's small, but Beasley's smaller. He's bigger. No, Switzer is bigger than Beasley. At least you're holding the ball. He fumbled the ball once, obviously. Yeah, but doesn't bode well, but that's exactly that's a one. Exactly. I don't put that on him being able to hold the ball well. No, I know. So catching the ball, it really remains to be seen. And honestly, we haven't seen him. So until they play him a little more. What's up, brother? I'm glad you guys feel good about your Giants. You got your win. Congratulations on that. When was the last time our defense had a 3rd and out? Now that's probably one of the biggest disappointments. No. We had a couple. We had a couple, but again, on a consistent basis, I think we have to be the team that's allowed like the most 90-something yard touchdowns
touchdowns. It feels like because it just. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? That it feels like
you mean drives.
Think of drives because think of it this way. I remember that one with Rodgers where we sacked them. It was like a second and 20. I don't know.
It would have been second and 27.
Yeah, and then it was like a third and 19, and they got the freaking first down, and they ended up scoring a touchdown.
Well, Hitchens grabbed the face mask on one, accidental face mask, still in face mask.
I know, but
and Mayowa grabbed that on the. It would have been second and 27 on the 2, and instead it became a first down. That would have been a punt, and again, both those drives they did score. So it did make a difference.
But
I think
Cowboys
one got a
Abroad
field goal,
said
one got a touchdown.
The Cowboys Abroad wants to know who's on the edge opposite of D-Law if Irving is on the inside.
Crawford's one playing the end now. Yeah, Crawford's playing the end. Mayowa is coming in for him at times, and you have Taco at times coming in, which I do not like that he's been playing so far. But inside you have Paya. I mean, you used to have Paya. Now you have him out. You always had Collins. You had Paya. Now you have Irving playing there. Irving can play outside. Crawford could play inside. They can mix and match that. That's the versatility on that line. We also, don't forget, guys, we also have DeMontre Moore.
That's right.
He will also be playing in some of that spot along with Mayowa, along with Crawford in that same rotation, and also sometimes with D-Law as well. So those 4 guys are kind of the outside with Taco thrown in there, a little Taco mix, who's not been playing well. And then you have in the inside, you could throw Taco in there, you could throw Crawford in there, but your main guys, of course, are Collins and Irving, and then behind them you probably got Lewis Neal if they take him up from the practice squad, which they have not done yet. And of course, you have Brian Price, who has been doing it for the last since the season started, basically. Yeah.
So, and Asad Lalani, Zeke is playing this game. He's 100% playing the 49ers game. The remaining games are in question. The judge should have a ruling sometime next week. So, definitely make sure to kind of just keep updated with us, and we'll break the news for you and give you all the updates on that. Yeah. So, but he is 100% playing against the Niners.
Hey, Cowboys Abroad, I agree with you. I always liked Irving at the edge. I just see him being better. But I will say, he looked great against the Bucs last year on the edge. I will say this, though. You got to admit, he looked pretty good against the Packers this first game back. He blew up the inside multiple times.
I agree.
And I think it's a good thing if they play him inside, and he's playing the one technique, which means he's playing it's a 3-man front. He's playing over the center.
Yeah.
Usually it's a 3-man front. Sometimes it's a 4-man front, and he's still playing over the center. So he works great over the center. He gets a quick start, and he breaks up the play, which is a great thing. I think that's why we leave him inside for a lot of the game. And I think at times we surprise them, throw him on the outside, us on the other side of D-Law. I agree with you on that. I like that look, and it worked last year for us, although D-Law was injured during that time.
Yeah, so, and Terabelli, good to see you guys. I'm happy Zeke can play. The NFL's being ridiculous right now. I said this a lot in our very, very early streams that, this really does affect, forget about Zeke as like a Cowboy player. Think of him as just an NFL player. This affects all NFL players. Odell, it could be Odell next week. That gets accused of the same thing and has to go through the same crap. And that's not fair to him, and I don't care that he's a Giant. The fact is that he should not have to go through that, because it's just exactly. So, and that goes for all the players.
I agree. No, it goes for every team and every fan that supports their players, the players in their team. But I'm gonna just run through a couple of quick questions here. I see here.
And I'm gonna be right back in just a second, guys.
I agree with Cowboys Abroad. Crawford is overpaid, underproduces. I would say that was the D-Law situation until this season. So we'll see if Crawford can bounce back and do something. I don't know. He hasn't really shown me anything. I agree with you on that. Sarah Green says Zeke's image is forever ruined because nothing will ever be proven. And you know what? Unfortunately, that even from the moment of the accusation, his image was ruined by a lot of people in the league. So, or a lot of people that just watch the NFL, just because they automatically are going to assume he's wrong, just on the allegation. Even if the charges were dropped and nothing came of this in the NFL, a lot of people, fans his image would still be ruined in those people's eyes. You can't help that. But I will say that the fact that once the NFL gave the suspension, everybody, I'd say 75% of the NFL jumped on him and was just basically saying, look at, he's a woman beater. Labeled him this. I think that it's down to like 50 or 40% now because he's fought back, he's won. And, he's won against the way the NFL has been doing this. It feels like it's I don't want to say conspiracy, but more like a railroading, kind of wanted to make an example of Zeke. And I think that he's going to prove them wrong. I think he's going to prove the NFL wrong. Tristan Blue says, I think we need to let go of Jalen Smith. Just too slow. His leg is going to be messed up forever. Great point. And it is interesting to say that, I can see that his leg, he's definitely losing a step. But give him time, guys. He's still not 100% on those nerves. He's like probably 60% right now. It's not going to be done until the season's over. I think next year you'll see a much more confident, better, much improved Jalen Smith. But I think, guys, what we're seeing already this year, the little bit, it's a great story. It's a great jump from where he was starting at. So. Yeah. No,
yeah. So no, Sarah Green said Dylan Smith is not fully recovered. He can't judge until next season. Exactly. So, and you know, Cruzan, I know you keep making the point about Kobe, but again, like Marsh said, Kobe had already played a zillion years. He was already a king. He had already had an established career. This is Zeke at the beginning, the start of his career.
But even with that, even though it did hurt Kobe. Again, the way that whole situation is, guys, and you really have to look into that. This woman went again. I hate to do this after that. Well, let me just leave it at that. She went up to his room. And there was some antics going on. The thing is that there's just a lot of speculation. Okay, that she's doing this for, you know, the notoriety, to get the money, try to get, you know, that's what it was looked upon as being, and that's the way that the witnesses described the situation before it went to the bedroom, before it went to the hotel room. So I don't want to go into the details of that case because there's a lot of things that were alleged, but I understand what you're saying, and he rebounded from that. Because the court of public opinion does change throughout the years, but I think it's more just proving yourself out there. And Zeke, it'll take a lot for him to start off as an unestablished.
Exactly, like but Cowboys abroad, you also have to realize Zeke also doesn't have the same options as Kobe probably had to, so to speak, quash the bad press, because Zeke can't really make too many statements on the case. No one can really make too many statements on the case because, remember, that could hurt. It could be used against him. Zeke's legal team has obviously told him to shut his mouth and keep it shut, because have we seen any comments from him? We've seen not many. We've seen very few comments from Jerry Jones, who's very vocal about
Sarah Green. He was
pretty much everything.
He was not charged with infidelity. He was charged with, I think, basically some kind of rape.
Yeah, so everyone's they're saying rape. So he was accused of rape. So
it was a couple different things, but
he didn't pay this woman off because he cheated.
Who? Oh, you mean? Oh, you mean? Well, no, I mean, again, guys, that's a whole different case. Honestly, I understand Cowboys abroad correlation to the Zeke case in the sense of the court of public opinion does change, and I do agree he'll get some people back. But I think the longer he fights this, and the more he keeps winning, it will just get him back more fans. And trust me, in the end, that's what you want. Not just for the fans, but for your own name. And some people, no matter what, no matter how, even if you won this and showed the NFL was wrong, they're still going to say he's a woman beater. Yeah. But I don't care about that, and neither does Zeke. He cares about the people that are still kind of just like the ones that jumped the gun and wanted to just jump onto the bandwagon of hating on Zeke, and so to speak, and saying, yeah, he just, you know, he did this wrong, that's it. And now they're hearing the thing kind of coming out more so. Trust me, it's swaying a lot more, a lot faster, a lot more real and solid for Zeke than if he just let it go away. That's not the answer, guys. It's not the answer. And if you're, again, I'm going to ask this Cowboys abroad, if that was you, would you let it go away? Would you fight it to the end? If you had the ability to fight it to the end, would you fight it to the end?
Yeah, and guys,
I might have missed your answer, but let me know.
No, and again, I'm trying to be as objective as possible, but speaking as me personally, if this was happening to me, I would fight it, because at the end of the day, no matter what my job or my team or my whatever, this is about me as a person, me, my life, my reputation, and not just my career. Again, my reputation and my life and my image outside of that, you know, especially when you're a public figure in the way that he is, you know, that's so much bigger than that. So DJ Crown J, what's up? Thanks for joining us.
I'm also going to say hi to T.
Rack City, I don't know. Let's see, you're going 19-0. So I don't know. T mentioned earlier to please approve a trade.
In our fantasy league, I'm going to do that. I just haven't got to it yet.
Okay, no, it just he's at work.
Yeah, I got the message. And also, guys, if you're doing the My Cowboys Family PlayStation 4 franchise league, we're going to do a redraft. Planning for this for tomorrow evening around 7 p.m. Eastern time. So we're going to do a stream for the Cowboys, but we're going to give you the updates on the practice and on the injuries and stuff. No Zeke stuff till next week, pretty much after tonight. Yeah. Because the ruling will be next week. But we'll probably do a second stream for just the My Cowboys Family PlayStation 4 draft. So if you guys want to do that, tonight's I opened it up to the public. People are filling it up. Make sure you guys send me your gamer tag / friend request to purple_football7 on PS4. Yeah. And I will then send you the invite to the league, and you can pick a team, and then we're going to draft the pool of 3,000 players put into a big pot, basically, and everybody's going to be drafting. It'll probably be at least a couple of hours, but guys, you can have it automatic draft if you can't do the whole thing, or you can only do the first half of it. Exactly. It's just for fun. You can then play the season out, and we'll talk about that as we keep going. But if you want to join, you got to do it soon. And it's going to start tomorrow, the draft, so we're closing it off. So, no, Tristan Blue says, I just want our defense right, because Aaron Rodgers got a first down on 3rd and 24. Exactly. I mean, that's what we said earlier, that
we can't let those third downs to.
Was that a penalty or is that the?
I know it was a 3rd and 24, 3rd and 19. I know it was a big third down.
Yeah.
The thing is, there were so many of them. You see, we can't even remember, but we know there were several. We know there were a lot of big ones.
Couple shout outs here. I saw a couple people here that I have never seen before.
Yeah. So guys, Stronger King, thanks for joining us, guys. Yes, if you are just joining us for the first time, make sure to hit like on the stream and subscribe. We do post daily content on the Cowboys and general NFL news, and we live stream our reaction to every single Cowboys game. So if you haven't seen that, make sure to check us out this weekend for the first time against the 49ers. Or go ahead and check out some of our older streams because, again, especially, now that you know the ending, you can, I know at least our Green Bay one, someone posted the exact time that you see us just like lose all hope.
Yeah. I agree. I'm going to say,
very depressing.
What's up, Kevin Bilbo? How you doing? Good that you joined us here. I agree with you. I wish that the coaches would use Dez Bryant a little bit better to his stronger things.
Hey, look, we have Lionel Messi. So Dodgers or Cubs? Red Sox.
Who is it?
Sorry.
Dodgers or who?
He said Dodgers or Cubs. Red Sox.
I don't know. I don't really care. I don't like the Red Sox. I don't like the Yankees. I like.
But I guess out of those two, I would probably go with the Cubs.
No, Dodgers haven't won in a while.
I'd probably go with the Cubs.
Yeah, I know. It used to be the Brooklyn Dodgers. So I'm just gonna say, hey, what's up to again Kevin Bilbo, to I think we said South of Heaven, DJ Crown J, as you said already to him. There's somebody else who was like it was a weird like a name.
Shallow Hal, no. Romo. Well, Romo played for the Packers.
Yeah,
so, cool. But and again, there are still some reports saying that Aaron Rodgers could possibly be back before the season ends. It's still very unlikely that he does, though, guys. He did have surgery on that broken collarbone yesterday. Again, wishing him a speedy recovery.
Yeah, no.
Let me see.
Can't agree more.
So, yeah, guys. And again, with the whole Zeke thing, we kind of already touched on, our thoughts and feelings, and especially when it comes to the credibility of it. So. Yeah. But Cowboys Brad said serve it and people stop talking about it. Just have a press conference and publicly deny it and claim innocence. But I think they've already done that before. Maybe not like some big press conference, but they've obviously already continued to put statements out there and other things. And again, we already kind of said that by the time that the case got to this point, dirt was going to come out on both sides. Things have already come out about Ezekiel Elliott, using recreational drugs and, obviously, lots of drinking and partying, things like that. It doesn't make Zeke look good overall, but again, it has nothing to do but it has nothing to do with, the actual charges of domestic violence.
Yeah.
So just to clarify that, guys. But again, it's just, it brings up a lot of dirt, to the point where, court, that anything can be used against you and everything is used against you on both sides.
And that's the way it's going to be. That's the way it's going to run, guys. And again, that's something once you go into this direction, you have to kind of take understanding that this is going to happen, and I think Zeke, because he is innocent, because the evidence points towards all favorable towards him, it's a no-brainer. He did this. He went on this road knowing he was going to fight this to the end for his name, for his brand, and all that stuff, but also for what's right. And again, it just seems like a complete misuse of power when it comes to the NFL, even though it is written in the CBA that Goodell has final say on this.
Yeah.
The thing is, did they give him a fair hearing, a
fair appeal,
a fair investigation, I guess you would say. Yeah. Did they give not in the courts of law, in the court,
but within
of
the NFL? Yeah, right. Within the NFL's rules. Did they give Zeke
a fair, investigation? And the answer is starting to point more and more to no. Yeah. And if that can be proven, then Zeke can win the case, because that means it's a violation of the collective bargaining agreement, which is where they have to win this if they're going to take away the 6 games for Zeke. And that's where this whole thing is trying to go to. The fact of whether or not he's going to be charged for domestic violence, we know it's not happening. We know he's innocent of that. In the court of law, he's innocent 100% by 3 different basically legal backings, 2 police departments and a prosecution for the state. So for the state of Ohio, I think. So my point is that he's clear on that. This is about fighting his name in the NFL, which in some ways could be almost worse, because this can stick with him longer, and especially when the NFL is pushing a lot of right now, because of their own mistakes with Ray Rice and Josh Brown, the kicker, because of their mistakes with domestic violence, they're making Zeke an example to save face. And in reality, all they're doing, and I think a lot of NFL fans are turning to this way, it's just making NFL look worse.
Exactly.
It's
and
the
Tristan
same pattern.
Blue, as far as losing to the 49ers, I think we're already in trouble. But
well, we are in trouble, but we have to win the Niner game.
We are definitely in trouble if we lose to the Niners.
But I still say in the end, and again, I don't, of course, the Niners, the Chargers, we should hopefully be able to win those 2 games out of the next 6 or 7. But my thing is that we have to win the division games, guys. Those are the ones we really have to win. We cannot afford to lose to the Redskins twice or the Eagles once. So we have to beat them right now when it's coming up in the middle of our schedule. Once we get to those games, even if we lose to the Falcons, if we lose to Kansas City, we can beat the Niners, Chargers, and beat the Redskins and Eagles, and then the Redskins again and the Giants towards the end, after Thanksgiving and all that stuff. I mean, we have a better chance to not only win the division, even with the Eagles, if they're in front of us. They're just a game and a half, I think, in front of us right now. 2 games. What are they? No, they're 2.5 games in front of us. But things change once they get their bye week. If we could win, this will even itself out. And I think if we win both of our games, we could still end up tied with them. And then win the tiebreaker. And again, I think it's in our grasp. And I also think that because everything is so crazy this year in the NFL, that we have a chance to still sneak in as a wild card at 8. I would say more 9 wins will get you in the wild card this year in the NFC and the AFC. So
let's go ahead and catch up with a few of your comments. And Brian Bradford, like Kevin mentioned in the chat, we don't actually show the game. It's actually a copyright issue. Marsh also said it, no visual audio of the actual game streams. But we do post our reactions to the games, and we, talk about, we talk it through, and we let you know, obviously, like what's going on, the time, how many timeouts, who's out there, what kind of plays they're doing, all that kind of stuff.
Updates throughout the game that I don't even say. Sometimes they don't say it on the TV with injury related or some kind of instant replay thing. Even the TV does a great job. The NFL does a great job in explaiing everything. But
there's obviously a few behind-the-scene things that we
can pick up with our people, our sources that we know out there that bring that let us know about injuries and other situations about the players that are currently going on in the game. So there's a lot of things to learn as well and keep track of.
So, and then Cowboys abroad. I want to see Dan Bailey do a fake kick. That would shock everyone. I don't think the Cowboys are ever going to give up those. No, not just that, but the 3 points that he gets us every time. Like, why would you gamble on a sure thing?
No.
So, and again, all hail Dan Bailey. And I know, obviously he will have one day, but the point is that there isn't a more consistent kicker in the NFL than Dan Bailey. So, guys, I'm about to get his jersey. So, maybe towards the end of the season, guys. Anyway, back to this. So let me see. So, who's talking about Jerry Jones' sexual assault case? Nobody. Well, Jerry Jones is like a freaking billionaire or something. So
I do want to say about that whole thing, guys. Actually, let me get to that real quick.
Unfortunately.
Let me change it up for real quick. 1 second, just on a couple of little side notes that I don't think I touched on yet. Just NFL news, I guess you can say. So, again, guys, as we said earlier, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, he's rejoining the team. The suspension has been lifted
so back with the Giants.
Yeah, they won a game. They're happy now with him. So we'll see what happens as weeks go on, though. When it comes to DMC and Morris, and when it comes to DRC and his attitude there with the Giants and what occurs from here on out. Now, the NFL and the NFLPA guys had a meeting today, and I think it was in New York.
I'm not sure, but basically it was about the anthem issue and a few other things as well.
That was on the top of the list, the first to talk about, but not the majority of things that they talked about.
Exactly. So they did discuss other things.
There was good news about that, which both sides seem to be coming to, even though there's no agreement yet on any kind of new deal. There is positive change coming when it comes to that.
And a good dialogue back and forth. It seems like both sides are pretty much coming to an agreement. There's just a matter of how they're going to implement, whatever
so what do you think
decision
would be
both
some
sides
choices
come.
Like for that?
The thing
I
guess it's hard for me.
Have to bargain some stuff.
Exactly, it's hard for me to say, but some people are saying that the NFL could possibly support more grassroots organizations within their, the NFL communities, obviously the cities that they're in, to support the causes that these players want to highlight, and also possibly giving players a separate avenue outside of the actual NFL, a separate platform to maybe promote their causes more.
But then maybe they implement wording that says you have to stand for that.
Exactly. So maybe,
or they take you off the field for like it used to be. But again, if they want to get that money from the Department of Defense, the players got to be on the field.
So that's the thing. We have to see how they're going to compromise those things together, because again, I don't know how losing that Department of Defense money hurts any of the NFL players making their money money. That's what I'm saying. I'm not 100% sure how any of that works. So again, at the end of the day, if the league is losing money, it's likely the players are going to lose money if it's a big amount.
But the players always lose more money than the
exactly. So they all want to work together to again find a solution where again there's a valid reason why they're protesting, or they feel there's a valid reason they're protesting, and they can all agree that they don't want to silence.
If it's not in the rules, they can't do it. Then and obviously the NFL is also not going to just push it out and say no, you can't do it. See, they're trying to say that you can protest or give your civil disobedience in other ways. Probably not using the flag though is going to be their push. So we'll see what happens. I want to quickly say, first of all, ha ha ha, shallow how, that was funny. Cowboys abroad. By the way, Kaepernick was invited to go to the meeting, but not by the NFL. He was invited to go by the Players Association, by the Players Union. The NFL never invited him, but the Players Association wanted him to come. He said no. He did not go to that. And again, I think he's on another level now of things. And honestly, you can think about it. I mean, he is really the one that spurred this whole thing on, whether you agree or not.
Exactly.
And whether you agree with his cause or not, the point is that this is a big dialogue that has opened up, a big thing that took over the NFL for last year, but mainly this season. And, it's kind of crazy how big it's become, whether you like it or not. It is the reality.
Cowboys abroad. Bowman's biggest decision was location.
Staying
his
at
kids.
His family,
he wanted to stay somewhere close by because of his kids and his family. And, obviously San Francisco and Oakland are not terribly far away. Much farther away than Dallas, obviously, guys. So it was a family decision. Obviously respect the family man, but it would have been nice to land him. And the interest in him was real. The Cowboys were genuinely interested in him. Don't think just because he went with Oakland right away that he never was going to go to Dallas or he didn't care about. Like the Cowboys wanted to talk to him and sit him down and say, "Hey, sign with us." So. Yeah, but obviously he went another direction. So
and Kevin Bowers, again, what you're saying there, Kevin Bowers, is a good point. Again, this is something but again, because it's not written into the NFL rules, and no matter what you think or I think, whether they should be able to be forced to stand or not, the rule still stands right now as they are allowed to sit or kneel or whatever during the anthem. That's the rule right now at hand. And that is where it's kind of like the suspension for Zeke is still, it's off right now. It's on a stay, basically, temporary restraining order. Right now, Zeke is eligible to play. Right now, the players can sit without any repercussions. That's a fact.
Exactly.
That's a fact. No matter what you and I feel, Kevin.
But definitely expect a lot of changes in a lot of things on both sides, NFL and NFLPA and in the CBA probably.
I agree.
The next
Kevin
time
Bowers again, that's also something they can also probably
amend.
They can amend into it right now into the CBA, saying if you do not stand for the anthem, you do get fined.
Good point.
You get
but they probably won't be able to do that until the end of the season.
Depends.
Correct?
They can make an amendment if both players and I guess so. And I don't know how that works, but I'm sure there's a possibility. What he's saying is that they can have their social media to do that, but that's still not as big of a platform as being in the middle of
nationally televised
and that's their
football game, and that's the point. That's their biggest platform. They don't have more eyes on them.
I think what you said is accurate, or more accurate than that, because that they can do now. That's not the point there, Kevin Bowers. The point is that they're trying to make it a bigger deal with I guess the percentage of and this is I guess I don't say racial, but it's a police brutality situation on minorities, even though it is a small percentage of the case, and that's also a fact, that it does happen. And I think that's what they're trying to bring awareness to, whether you like it or not, or agree or not. Using the social media is one thing, but doing it during the anthem gets more coverage.
Yeah, and again,
that's why it's where it is now.
Yeah, and Kevin, it's okay if you don't agree with it. We again, I understand the protest, but I definitely understand the disrespectfulness of it and why a lot of people do feel like it's disrespectful.
I'll say this before.
I really do understand both sides.
I said this before. This whole thing, before Kaepernick, I'll say this now and I'll say this after. It's more disrespectful to this country, to the anthem, and to the flag, to force people to stand. That's not America. That's not constitutional.
Yeah, that's communist Russia.
Exactly. They shoot you in some countries if you don't stand up. I'm sorry, guys, but that's not America. America is the right to not stand. And whether I agree or not, I don't agree with that. I think you should stand. But my point is that that is my personal choice, and everybody should have that same choice. And that's what makes America different than a lot of other countries that that don't allow that kind of dissent, don't allow that kind of feeling, and that's what makes America great. That's better than forcing everyone to stand. That's not American. That's actually unconstitutional and not American. When you look at it just in the general sense, I'm not talking about necessarily if there's work rules, which there are not in this case, that you have to stand yet.
Exactly. At that point, so guys, like we said, this is a pretty interesting situation, but definitely. I do kind of want to switch gears because I see a few of you guys also talking about, Jalen Smith. And look, guys, much like Taco, it's been 6 games. Give him a chance to play a little more and develop themselves. And remember, Jalen isn't 100%. And again, we've been forcing him out on the field because we've had so many guys hurt. Now that he's not going to be playing as much, we'll be getting more quality play out of him. And on top of that, with Taco as well, he will hopefully, he actually made a comment coming back from this bye week saying that he actually feels a lot better after the bye week. He feels like he really reset himself because he knows he's been struggling and he's felt very frustrated with himself because of that. So
that's true.
He does feel like he reset himself. So
I think he'll be fine as next season.
I agree. He's again, guys, he's gonna be one of those players that develops. It would be nice if he just exploded right now. But
yeah, I want to jump back. I want to say something because I have one more little piece of information I wanted to say, and it ties into what Cowboys Abroad said there twice.
Yeah.
About should we be concerned about anthem protests hurting our ability to acquire players? 100% yes.
Yeah, but I also think we should be more worried about the comments that our owner of our team is making. I think that's going to hurt us more because I know a few people were saying, well, what if Bowman doesn't come to the Cowboys because of the comments Jerry Jones made?
I think that's what he's saying, though. I think he's talking about the whole situation. I don't think he's talking about the actual ability for the players to protest.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to hurt us. I don't think the players protesting are going to hurt us. If that's what you meant, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. But I think what he was trying to say is that the fact that this whole hoopla going around with the Cowboys and the anthem situation where Jerry Jones is kind of making the players upset because of whatever he said and his stance on it with Donald Trump.
I do wish we knew more about that meeting.
I know, but I do think, and you can tell a lot about the meeting by the interviews. If you guys watch the interviews of that, I'm gonna try to post that.
That's right, because didn't Skandrick
was very upset. Irving was kind of was upset, but kind of joking
more
it off.
Middle of the fence, yeah.
But joking it off. It was like we're shrugging it off, but in a condescending, kind of joking kind of way. But it was obvious that it bothered him. And so obviously there's been some things that were said by Jerry Jones that does not help the players on the team, not just free agents from other teams, but our own teammates, our own free agents on our team. Do they want to play here with the owner who does not respect their First Amendment right, or what they're protesting for? Is it just whole lip service, that whole thing in Arizona?
Exactly, and remember, I gotta say that probably really hurt a lot of the players because I do think most of the players and us as well, we really did believe that this was a genuine, wow, he really is trying to find a way to to still stand for his beliefs, but still show support for his players and their beliefs and support them. And when it kind of came out that he felt like he was just kind of doing it to shut people up and kind of get people to stop talking about it so that the team could go back to stand. Yeah, it definitely. And
between owner, front office, and
exactly.
players.
And regardless of whatever Jerry Jones or the Cowboys team might have said to try and cover it up, I'm sure a lot of the players that saw that initially that did get upset by it, that's still lingering, and they still kind of feel like he was a little bit fake with that. And I definitely get a little bit of that fakeness vibe with that now, and it upsets me because I actually thought it was a very good compromise, honestly, to really try to meet in the middle on these two sides that seem to be very polarized, but really shouldn't be. So,
and by the way,
in a way that most people
thank you all for our being, being family friendly out here. I know there's a little back and forth. I appreciate you guys.
But guys, seriously, this, adult discussion, this back and forth, guys. I mean, like I said, we've learned so much from, just you guys, this back and forth, and all of us here. We're all here to share our thoughts and our opinions, and that's what makes this Cowboys family.
Exactly.
No one agrees.
And again, thank you, Kevin Bowers. I mean, Kevin Bowers says he does see our point. And again, we're not saying we're right. We're just saying this is our feeling to it.
Yeah, and we're glad you guys can at least see where we're coming from, even if you don't agree.
We're not saying that we even agree or disagree. I'm not even saying, I don't want to say if I agree or disagree necessarily with Kaepernick or with the players sitting or standing, whatever the reason or the way they're going about doing this. I mean, I kind of agree with I 100% agree with them being able to do this, given the fact that there's no rule in the rule books and by their employers, and that they don't have to stand for this, and it isn't a big public stage when they want to bring something that's important to them to the forefront. That is their right, and we got to live and die by the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, and that's it, guys. That's what makes America America, in my opinion. And again, the standing, sitting thing. I'm glad we clarified that, Mayor Kevin.
Yes,
that's awesome. Thank you so much for that. And again,
hey, we're known all over the world for our First Amendment and our big mouths, guys. So we all have opinions here in good old USA, I love it.
Back and forth, the Cruising and Frankie G, all good. Again, Cowboys Bar, we answered that question already about the players and the protests. I do think it hurts the Cowboys with the way Jerry Jones has handled the situation after the Arizona unity thing. I think he kind of hurt the situation by what his stance was by getting these misinterpretations of the rule from Donald Trump that then he went public with. And I think he's kind of eating those words, which again, guys, brings me to an important thing if you want to really see, because this is where the Cowboys world intertwines with politics.
Yeah.
And this is why we do talk about it. Just in case you don't like it, I apologize, but it does concern the Dallas Cowboys. So guys, today, Jerry Jones, when he left the meeting, before the meeting, when all the owners went there were people protesting outside of the building where they were meeting at. So there was a lot of protesting going on. But when Jerry Jones left the meeting, he was in the lobby. He was actually confronted by protesters, chanting a lot of things like, paying $40 million slaves. You don't own them. They're
you can't
like
silence them.
Yeah, gladiators. Getting their heads bashed in. They're like your slave. Again, we know that they didn't mean that they're slaves because you can't compare slavery to the NFL. I'm sorry. You can't
compare slavery to the NFL.
Sorry.
But the thing is that Jerry Jones was the only one that actually, like, everyone else kind of kept walking. Jerry Jones was, guys, we've been here for over an hour, so. But Jerry Jones was the only one that actually stopped, and he actually stood there for, about 30 seconds before security actually kind of pushed him along and told him to keep going. But he actually stopped, and he stood and waited and listened to this man and what he had to say.
Quote, "No, I wanted to hear what that man had to say." So at least it shows again
that he's open to at least hearing what they want to say.
I think it's Jerry Jones trying to show that. I don't think he really means it. I think he's doing it because after this discussion, and then, after this meeting with the players,
he wants to show that he's open to listening to the other side.
And that's the point. I think it's just a front. And again, that's all he needs to do. Whether he agrees or not, it's not the point. He knows this. He's a smart businessman. Trust me, guys. And I think he was trying to do the businessman thing when it came to the flag, because he knows most of the people that are speaking out against this protest are, a lot of people that go to the games, a lot of the fans, his fan base and stuff like that. So I think that he knows he was trying to cater to the majority in this situation. But again, I think he kind of crossed the line with this whole Donald Trump rule thing and the meeting with the players about basically benching them if they don't stand for if they disrespect the flag in any way, make it very vague. And this is going to hurt signing free agents, and it's going to hurt our free agents that are going to become eligible. Do you think? Again, Zach Martin. Maybe he wants to go somewhere else. Maybe too much drama. Maybe he agrees with the players what they're doing and disagrees with Jerry Jones' stance on this.
Exactly. So maybe now instead of
because a lot of white players are also siding with this. So guys, you never know how this could divide the team, not just for right now or for the moment, but for the future and for helping us for the future. Not because of protesting, but because of Jerry Jones' attitude towards the protesting. It has damaged the Cowboys' team chemistry, and I think also the ability to re-sign free agents of their own and new free agents. I agree. It's like the Navarro Bowman situation. He didn't even come to Dallas because he saw what he needed from the Raiders. The family situation definitely played a big part in it.
But let's exclude the family thing. Was it likely that he would have signed? Or that is it likely that the comments that Jerry Jones made, that would kind of sway him more towards offers being equal or even ours being a little better?
Remember, guys, he knelt, but he knelt only after the Trump comment about get that son of a beep.
Yeah, and that Jerry Jones is a big Trump supporter, so again, that might rub him personally the wrong way.
But that's also after Trump said that is when Jerry Jones took the knee with the players against Trump, against that kind of stuff for unity, but against Trump. In the end, that's what it was, a unity thing against Trump. The NFL wanted to unify against Trump's comments. Again, if you have to support him, this has nothing to do with support or against him. It's just about the situation. This is a fact, and because of that, go ahead, baby. What? Well, no, what's up?
I
thought you were tapping me.
Oh no, sorry.
So I lost focus, guys.
Oh, sorry guys. I was just stretching because I can't believe we've actually been streaming for over an hour, guys. So for any of you guys who haven't already hit like or haven't subscribed, make sure to do so.
A little bit. It's late.
Yeah. So at least here on the East Coast.
And again, I disagree with Cruzen saying Dak is what do you say, average or not that good?
If I'm not mistaken, Cowboys Abroad, the NFL lost their tax-exempt status in 2015.
Yes, they did lose it already.
I don't know. It's been about 2-3 years.
Correct. No, they already lost it. So you're correct about that.
There you go. So let me see. Let me see. We're a running football team. I think it's more play calling. You won't look amazing throwing 15, 18 passes. And just the situations that we put our team in as well, because very few quarterbacks are going to look good when put against bad odds, and even great, amazing quarterbacks we've seen this year have not done so great against some of those, stacked.
I'm telling you, Cruz, and Dak is not average.
Dak is definitely not average. If he was average, the Cowboys wouldn't be where they are right now. He wouldn't make the moves that he makes.
I don't think he's elite yet. He's not elite. He's not a Rodgers or a Breeze.
I don't think Rodgers is a Rodgers in his second year either. But correct me if I'm wrong.
No. I'm not comparing it even by where they were in their years. Obviously, Dak was a lot more advanced than almost any quarterback in history after his first rookie year. I'm not talking about that.
Has any rookie ever had such as actually?
No, he's had the best rookie year in history. But you can still be a bust.
Exactly.
My point is that he's still showing a lot of greatness out there, guys, with limited coaching and with limited, I think, offensive line gelling. That's the big issue, guys, with the running game, but also with the passing game. And we played some really tough defenses. It's not going to get much easier. So this could be an ongoing issue, but I think that I was saying that earlier with Zeke gone, I think the offensive line would be able to gel better. I really hope that they've done something to now know that we're going to have Zeke back there this week, and they better be ready for 8-man fronts because the San Francisco 49ers, they have 2 major injuries of their starters that they're out. One broke his arm. He's out for like 7 or 8 weeks. Eric Anderson, I think. Another guy is out. 2 starters. I mean, they're not superstars, but they're definitely part of their team. Now other guys have to step in. We're playing at least 2 backups, 3 backups on their team on defense. Our offensive line should definitely take them to the shed and take them to school. You know what I'm saying? They should definitely handle this San Francisco defense. And I think that we have to, jump on them. We have to make sure we stay on top of them, run the clock, run the ball, and then the defense, I think, will do enough to win the game, guys. We did this. The defense is as good as last year, if not better than last year. We just haven't reached that point yet because our offense has not been able to control the clock, control the game. They've done it in the first quarter against the Rams. They did the first quarter against Green Bay, and we let it go by trying to get fancy, getting too cute.
Exactly.
Too cute, Jason Garrett. And throwing the ball too
much.
The
exact opposite of what he said he was trying to avoid.
Exactly.
So, and then just want to give a quick shout out to a few of you guys who are just hopping back in here. T, glad you're off work and joining us again. Cowboys legend, what's up? F the Giants. So, and Kevin Bowers, thanks for joining us tonight. Hope you have a good rest of your night. And Dallas Cowboys forever champions. Yes, we do. To talk about the Cowboys quite a bit.
And you guys, if you miss anything, go back and see it. Because
we pretty much, let's go ahead and sum it up real quick.
She broke down the entire Ezekiel Elliott case, what it's going to mean for the future. There's only a few routes to go yet, so make sure you go back and check on that.
Yeah, so we talked about it right in the beginning of the stream, so pretty much the first 15, 20 minutes are
no
every
fake news
detail,
here, guys. This is all fact-checked and real. So this is all the possibilities, all the routes that this can be taken with. Again, updating you guys on the Cowboy practice. I didn't hear of any practice today. I think practice officially starts tomorrow. I think everybody's back in camp today. Tomorrow is the first day of practice. They're back and preparing on the field for the Niners. Look for updates on Sean Lee. I'm sure he'll be out there. I'm ready to give you the update, guys. Sean Lee will be out there. Awuzie will be out there. Chaz Green will be out there. Tyron Smith should be out there. La'el Collins should be out there. And again, guys, that's pretty much our entire injured list right there. So everyone will be out there tomorrow, the entire team. So look for that. It's already kind of broken news, I guess you could say. It's breaking news, but it's already been said that the team will be there tomorrow. So tomorrow, we're gonna probably unless something big comes up or something else. Zeke updates. That's for next week. That's gonna be on the Go Live breaking stream, short stream next week. But tomorrow we'll do a usual stream here. I'll probably do it solo tomorrow. But I will say that. We're going to talk about the practice, going back to football, back to Cowboys football.
And guys, Awuzie, as far as we know, should be returning to practice this week, but we haven't heard anything. It seems like the team did not practice this week.
Right.
Last week
they did practice, and Sean Lee was out there both times. Tyron Smith took it easy. La'el Collins missed one practice. Awuzie was out there on the sideline, kind of warming up, rehabbing his thing. So, but it's all good sign, guys. That all I'm going to be back 100% ready to roll for the Niners game. So there's no excuses this time. And now we got Zeke. So there's zero excuse. That offensive line better overwork that and pound.
Yeah.
And the coaches better call plays for the offensive line to be able to do this to the San Francisco defense, and we can establish the run. We win the game. Case closed. Yeah. Even with our defense, no matter the holes or the inexperience, we still win this game because we control the game, and the offense becomes one-dimensional for the Niners, and our defense can kind of. I guarantee you're going to see a defense looking a lot better if we're up 21-3 in the third quarter. You're going to see our defense getting turnovers. And those young, inexperienced guys doing things out there, guys, that you won't see when we're fighting for our lives neck and neck against the Packers and the Rams. When we made it into that kind of game, you're going to see that towards the end of the game. If we're up on a team by 17 points or more, 14 points even in the fourth quarter, you're going to see our defense get those interceptions, get those turnovers. Right. So watch that.
Yeah, guys. So, and Let me see. There was one. Yeah, a QB QB play hasn't been our problem. I think it was more of a problem earlier in the season, but I think the point is that Dak has proven that he is not the problem. He had exactly. That's what I'm saying. He had a few shaky performances and a few bad moments earlier.
Moments, yeah. Moments in his game, but overall very good games.
Overall very good. And like we said, the coaching staff has put him in very tough positions.
And the offensive line has been not gelled, and has been some weakness in the offensive line, which allows more pressure on Dak, limits his ability to really read the defense and do what needs to be done down the field. So
exactly. So guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the stream here. If you haven't already, make sure to hit like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. We'll be breaking all the updates on Zeke. And
next week.
You know, we do daily live streams just like this one, guys. And we do our reaction game day live streams where we show our reaction to the Cowboys live as it's happening, kind of give you our breakdowns,
our thoughts and the kids.
Yes, our children do join us.
This weekend we're kid-free.
No, and it's also my birthday weekend. So guys, we're going to have kind of an extra special celebratory, you know.
I have a surprise
and hopefully we have a lot to hopefully we have a lot to celebrate with the beating Sunday, the Niners, because if not, I'm going to be really depressed on my actual birthday.
Let's get fiance a victory against the Niners, guys. So come on.
Any Cowboys, if any of you guys are watching, do it for me if you won't do it for yourselves. So, all right. Thank you so much, every single one of you guys, for joining us here tonight. And as always, never forget.
100%. Always, now, and forever, win, lose, or draw. Go Cowboys! Woo!
We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Good night.
Thank you, guys. We love you guys. Thank you for being part of my Cowboys family. And never forget,
go Cowboys. Good night, guys.
Good night. Go Cowboys.